What's going on, guys? My name is Eldenero and welcome to another episode of my Manchester United career mode on FIFA 15. I guess this is episode 115. It's been a while since I actually uploaded this series. The last week or so there haven't really been many episodes. I want to apologise for that. It's mainly honestly down to the fact that the Team of the Year hype was up and people weren't watching career mode videos at the time, so I just thought it would be safer to not upload and just hold these videos so that, you know, I could release them later when the hype for that kind of dies down a little bit. Because one thing that's strongly missing from my channel is Ultimate Team content. I haven't really veered into Ultimate Team at all this year. I've only done a couple of squad builders and a couple of live commentaries, and that's about it. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about that, if we're going to do some more Ultimate Team content in the future or if I'm going to start another career mode. I haven't really decided yet due to being very, very busy as of late. But we're starting this episode off, as you can see, with a game against Leicester City as we return to the King Power Stadium for the first time since leaving there in the summer to join Manchester United. And we had some bad news early on as Signorini came onto the pitch there. As you saw, he replaced Andre Schürrle, who picked up an injury early on in this game, and in the 9th minute Timo Huppert's got a shot on goal. And then it was a largely dull and uneventful game as we come up to stoppage time at the end of the first half with Yassine Benzia treading this ball into Robin van Persie, who scores a spectacular strike against his former club. Obviously, he was involved in the transfer of Hector Villalba, who went from Leicester City to Man United for about 30-something million, maybe a little bit more than that, even plus Robin van Persie. So it ended up being quite a large transfer in the end, and Van Persie struck the post just 1 minute after he actually ended up opening the scoring. So we were a goal down, trailing Leicester City, trying to find some kind of momentum in the second half to just build upon and eventually put in a better performance. But Leicester City were all over us. Their midfield obviously sat deep due to that formation structure that I set up at the club, and with Koyate and James Ward-Prowse in there patrolling it very well, it was just really, really difficult to play against them. Plus Bertrand Traore and Divock Origi on the wings just made it so difficult to do anything other than defend the kind of onslaught coming from Leicester City. But they got another move going in stoppage time at the end of the second half with Emre Can playing it into Carlos Martinelli, because they were playing all-out attack for some bizarre reason. But the ball came to Carl Jenkinson on the right hand side of the pitch. He crosses and finds Yassine Benzia, who makes it 2-0 to Leicester City and puts the final nail in the coffin. And our performance was seriously lackluster. I mean, we beat them 2-0 in one of the first games of the season, and it was a relatively easy performance, but this time it was just absolutely not the case. And even though they're trailing in the league at the moment, they're having a very, very bad season. They really turned up for that game and they really showed me who's boss. But I'm still top of the table, so I don't know if I really cared that much. Plus, I'm fairly happy to let Leicester have that win because obviously I like Leicester City. I have a lot of affection for that club now. But here's a squad report on the screen. I don't really have a lot to say. I'm just going to say the same thing that I've been saying before, because this is an issue that's really, really, really started to bug me now, and nobody I've spoken to actually has any idea how to resolve it, and I don't think it can be resolved. So that has ramifications for us, because next season Alberto Jordan is one of the central midfielders in our club. Now, I believe personally that he has a potential in the high 80s. Perhaps we could get him up to an 87 around there as a central midfielder. He's going to be on the screen momentarily. There he is there on the screen. So I think he has super high potential. He's still very young, but the only stats going up are the mental ones, which means that ultimately he's never ever going to develop. So we're going to have to get rid of him in the summer because there's no point in keeping him on at the club. He's never ever going to get better than he is now. The only thing that will increase is his mental stats, which will eventually start to bring his overall up. But even as an 80 rated player, he's going to have the exact same technical and physical stats as a 79 rated player. So it's ultimately pointless keeping him at the club. The same goes for Matteo Signorini, albeit he's only a bit part player in the team who ultimately just has a place as a squad rotation player who doesn't really do an awful lot. So I'm quite happy to keep him on as a player who can come on and impact the game from the bench. Whereas Alberto Jordan, I had ambitions of becoming some kind of a Xabi Alonso type player or maybe a Toni Kroos type player, but that just has not happened at all. We also find that Andre Schürrle will be out for 8 days due to a broken elbow that he sustained. That's a very, very bruised elbow it must have been. That couldn't be a broken elbow. But our next game is at Old Trafford as we take on Everton. Now, this is in the FA Cup, and we're very close to actually reaching the final stages here. As you can see, we're near the semi-final if we can get past this task of Everton. Still in the Cup, we've got Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester City, all of whom you would expect to win their ties in the quarter-finals. This is how our team lineup looks. We've got Villalba with Dybala playing behind him, and then Lingard, Powell and Bigirimana all making up the midfield with Jared Romeo at right back and Rojo at left back, because our next game after this is against Wolfsburg in the second leg, as we go away from home and try and get an away goal there, having drawn 0-0 in the last episode. That's in the Champions League. This is the FA Cup, and we came charging forward after just 9 minutes with Timo Huppert's picking the ball up. He plays it to Powell, who finds Big Iramana, who goes for it from distance, and had that been on target, I don't think the goalkeeper would have done anything in the way of saving it. So an early chance for us. Then Everton responded 7 minutes later with James McCarthy picking the ball up in midfield. He passes it to Darren Gibson, the former Manchester United player, who plays it into Ki Sung-yong, who obviously made it to Everton because of us. I forget what deal he was involved in, but we sold him to Everton or something along those lines, I do believe. But he hit the crossbar, and then Romaron, who I believe is Rondon, and they're the exact same player. Romaron is a copy of Rondon, but Rondon plays in Serie A. He doesn't play for his national team, and Romaron was created to fill that void. So I think he starts off as a free agent, and it's quite annoying because any team can sign him, and we started off in England, so an English team signed him, and he's so difficult to play against. He's a ridiculously good striker in this game, and he just has so much sort of power on the ball, and just so much strength at holding off defenders and things like that. He picks the ball up here and plays it into Carlos Vela, who goes for the shot from distance, but thankfully for us it went just wide. Then we come up to the 42nd minute of the game as we tried to muster up our second chance with Dybala coming forward as he trades it in to Hector Villalba, who's been a little bit rusty, been misfiring a little bit since he's come back. He almost scored there, but it was a kind of an easy shot for the goalkeeper to handle, I would think. Then we come into the second half trying to really put a stamp on the game. I changed the formation ever so slightly, and I went with a more attacking one, and Nick Powell from distance almost managed to give us the lead, but the shot was deflected. It went out for a corner kick, from which nothing came naturally. But Dybala picks the ball up in the 49th minute. He does the Ronaldo chop to get around a couple of players before being dispossessed, and then Big Iramana had his shot, which was also deflected and put out for a corner, from which nothing came. Then we come up to the 57th minute of the game with Carlos Vela coming down the right hand side for Everton, surrounded by players, but he goes back to Seamus Coleman, who puts in an easy pass to Darren Gibson, who finds Romaron. De Gea makes a fantastic save, and McManaman can't get onto the rebound quick enough, so thankfully for us no goal came from that chance. But in the 72nd minute Everton came forward again with James McCarthy picking the ball up and playing it into Darren Gibson. He finds Romaron on the edge of the box, who does really well to get the shot off, but De Gea equal to it once more in goal, and it goes out for a corner, and nothing came from that either. But Everton were kind of building up the pressure, and from a corner in the 79th minute the ball broke and we got a counter attack on with Hector Villalba on the ball. He plays it wide to Matteo Signorini, who came on as a right midfielder in this game, and he comes charging down that right wing with plenty of options in the middle for him. He eventually crosses it towards Villalba, but it's cleared away out as far as Alberto Jordan. He finds Jesse Lingard, and Lingard once again provides us with a crucial goal to see us through this tie against Everton. And he's turned up in the most unlikely places at times. Like, he's not really a player I had any expectations for at all, but he's been very fun to have in the team, and he's the type of player who, if I ever was to start a career mode with a sort of middle of the league team, no matter in what league, I would try and sign Lingard, because he's just very, very good. He's very agile. He's a very El Dinero type player. I think his potential just isn't quite high enough to sustain a first team place, but we do manage to navigate that task. We defeat Everton and we make it to the semi-final of the FA Cup, so the treble a real possibility for us this season as we come up in our next game against Wolfsburg. This is in the knockout stages, the round of 16, and we drew 0-0 at Old Trafford, so I think the ball would still have been in our court going into this tie, because an away goal for us changes the game dramatically for Wolfsburg and leaves them needing 2 goals. We went with a strong lineup for this game too. The Spanish midfield duo of Jordan and Herrera with Schürrle and Huppertz on the wings. I think that's probably our strongest wing combination, not including Memphis Depay, who is out injured and will in all probability not be back for any kind of crucial matches between now and the end of April, I'd imagine, if not even May. But Wolfsburg were playing with that high intensity passing that the AI does when they're in the second leg of a game, and it was really starting to put me off early on when you saw De Bruyne's header going just over there. A really good chance from them, but they just passed it with such speed, and it's ridiculous to play against. But in the 11th minute the ball got threaded in to Hector Villalba, who gave us the lead and broke his duck. He's kind of like, he has been misfiring since he came back from injury, no doubt about it, but finally he put an end to that tonight by giving us that priceless away goal and putting us into the lead against Wolfsburg. Then we come up to the 35th minute of the game with Luis Gustavo on the wing for Wolfsburg. They go for the cross, it's cleared away by our defence as far as Hector Villalba, who is pretty much by himself here and has to create a chance, but some players eventually do join the attack, and he takes on Junior Malanda before treading the ball into Wayne Rooney. He was in a great position to score. I don't know why I didn't shoot first time, but he took the shot eventually, and it comes out to Alberto Jordan, who volleys the rebound into the back of the net and makes it 2-0 2-0 to us on the night, and even at this moment I wasn't sure that we were going to go through because of the way that Wolfsburg were playing. But it's very hard to translate that type of play into a highlights video where they didn't actually manufacture any chances. They just passed the ball an awful lot and got very close before we defended quite well. But in the 45th minute, stoppage time at the end of the first half, the ball comes to Perisic, who gets dispossessed by Rafael, and the Brazilian right back does a fake shot before taking the ball infield and eventually passing it to Hector Villalba, who looks up, goes for the strike, beats Rui Patricio from distance and gets his second goal of the night, his 4th in the Champions League overall this season. And he makes it 3-0, and at this moment I was like, yeah, they're not going to have any answer to this, even if they come out all guns blazing in the second half. I don't really concede 4 goals very often, and we got a chance for Villalba to get his hat-trick in the 67th minute. Sadly, he didn't take it, but Wolfsburg did come forward in the final 12 minutes of the game with Vargas taking the ball on the right hand side of the pitch, and eventually gets crossed in towards De Bruyne, who plays it out to I don't know who that was, but it comes to De Bruyne again. He plays it into Luis Gustavo, who goes for the shot. It's saved. Perisic headers the rebound into the back of the net, and the Wolfsburg crowd went mental, but the linesman had his flag up, and I didn't actually think he did. I get caught out by that so much, like more than the AI do. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's the end of that game. We got a good 3-0 victory, which it's very good considering that we drew 0-0, and there was, you know, in the first leg we didn't really have anything going on. It is good to be able to come away from home and get that 3-0 victory, but it's kind of annoying a little bit that we always come up against German teams in the Champions League. Like, I'm pretty sure we've played Wolfsburg before in this career mode. We've only been in the Champions League 3 times, and we've played against German opposition 3 times, and I can say right now at this moment, as you look at this tournament tree, Bayern Munich beat Real Madrid 4-1 on aggregate, and that's who we've got in the next round. We're going to play against Bayern Munich for the 3rd season in a row. Every time we've been in the Champions League, we've played against Bayern Munich, so I'm looking forward to that because I do know how to beat them, and that will see us into the semis if we do indeed get past them. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Hopefully we get a new opponent, because if we come up against Chelsea and they knock me out again, I'll probably just, you know, delete my YouTube channel or something. But that's the end of this episode anyways. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do leave a like on the video. That would be much appreciated. I've been Elden Hero. Thanks for watching.